All right, gang, we are going to try. Actually, we're going to try a couple titles. We're going to start with, on this side, Karelia 44, Multi-Man, Standard Combat Series. What's the date of this thing? I didn't know that was that old. 1988, really? I didn't think this game was that old. Anyhow, we're going to play that. We got it set up here. We got the initial setup here to play the campaign game. So this is the last campaign of the continuation war. Now, this is a subject that I'm not real strong with, but this is Russian Finland. So you can see the Finns on their, I don't even think, what do they call this thing? The MLR, I know it has a term because I was looking at it earlier. And let me see. Just to make sure I get all this stuff right. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not even going to try to translate. Oh, the Finnish main line of resistance, all right? So they're sitting on this here. Of course, this is what? Russia's umpteenth attempt, I guess, to get after Finland. All right, so this is in 44. So I guess this would be their last shot at it. Or the final shot, we should say. So anyhow, what Finnish troops are set up on the border, all right? The Russians have massed. They're massing there right in their front. And the objective, okay, so the victory conditions of this game is whoever has 20 victory points wins the game. And as you can see on the map, you've got these red hexes that have victory point numbers in them, or victory point values in them. And the winner is whoever has 20 victory points at the end of the game. So they're kind of scattered too. There's some on the edge of the map, one up in the corner over there. Taipali is worth 3 itself. Aryapa is worth 3. And then you got the big ones over here, Viipuri or Viborg, 5 and 3 over there, and a bunch of 2s over here, and a 2 right there. So 20 victory points to win. They got some special rule here called the boss's patience. And I'm sure with Stalin, God forbid what that might be, but we'll have to look at it. Let's see. The Finns have a thing called Group Kolmi. So basically, this is standard combat series. Okay, so you have your standard rules. I haven't gone through the rules yet on the specific scenario rules for this game, but I will here soon. There's only just a couple pages of them that have to be read, so that won't take long to do. All right, so we're gonna do it. We're gonna do a turn by turn with this, and we'll take a snapshot and talk about what's happened. Let's see, the boss's patience. The Russian player is under enormous pressure from above to accomplish Stalin's objectives in this offensive. Time is critical, and the player does not know exactly how long the boss, Stalin, will let him have to get this done. Because of this, the length of the game is variable. If the commander is particularly unlucky, he may be explaining his actions in front of the boss. And you know, if you got to go stand in Stalin's office on the carpet, you know what's probably going to happen next, especially if you weren't doing things fast enough. Yeah, it says you do not want to be doing this. So you have what's called boss's points down here in the corner, all right, of the map. Oh, yeah, you all see this little chart. And it starts at 3. And these control how long the game will go on. Track them on the maps, blah, blah, blah. Soviet player receives 1 or more boss points at the start and may do several things to earn more of them to keep the game going. The Soviet player must maintain at least 1 remaining boss point. Oh, so if it drops down into there, the game is over and you're on your way to a gulag, or, well, you're probably going to be dead. I doubt he's going to send a commanding officer to gulag. You'll probably be dead. So during the phase, you roll 1 die. On a 1 to 3, reduce your boss point total by 1. Wow. On a 4 to 6, the total remains the same and play continues. And then you roll for boss points on turn 1 normally. So there must be a chart for that. Let's see. Boss patience points. Wow, this is going to be unique. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. You roll 1 die each for boss patience on the boss patience phase. On a 1 to 3, reduce the marker by 1 boss point. On a 4 to 6, there is no change. Okay. Additional boss points can be accrued by each of the following, but each event can only be used once. For a terrain feature to be taken, all victory point stats in it must be occupied. So withdrawal means remove from play. Okay, so you get 1 point. The MR, the main line of resistance has been taken. All right. You get a point for the VT line has been taken. So the VT line. All right. And you get a point for the withdraw 24 steps of non-guards units, any unit type. Withdrawal means remove from play. Okay, all right. And withdraw all guards units, you get a point. Well, oh, okay, so I guess any of the dark readies here, if you withdraw so many steps of these from play, which that's interesting because I guess you're telling the Soviet Union, you're telling, oh, I don't need these guys. I'm good enough that I don't need to fight them with this. So we'll have to look. We'll have to see how that one plays out. That could be interesting. I gotta admit, that's the first time I've seen a rule like that. So they're gonna get this chart to move up one if they clear this whole line. Take it all. This will move up one if they clear all this. This whole line. Take it up one. That's a different concept, that's for sure. All right, so now that's Karelia 44. We're getting ready to start game turn 1. And we'll come back after game turn 2. All right, let's catch up on the Karelia 44 here. This is an interesting game. I've only played a couple of turns, but for those of you that don't know it, do you notice what's missing on the map? There's no turn record chart because this game is not played with a turn record chart, which is interesting. I gotta admit, I think this is the first game I've played that's like this. The game is timed by the boss's points, by whether Stalin wants you to come on back home or keep fighting. So that's how that works. I have played a couple of game turns. So this boss point thing, depending on what you do, or a dice roll as to whether you have points or you don't. If that thing gets down to that red box down there, then like I was explaining in the intro, you might as well just shoot yourself because he's going to do it. If not, or you're going to a gulag. But you can also earn points. There's only 4 points you can earn. So, and then at the start of every turn, you roll a dice, and on a roll of 1 to 3, you lose a point over here. All right. On a 4, 5, or 6, it doesn't change. But you have 4 events that you can get points for. So the Russians already got their first point by clearing the main line of resistance. All right, that first row of defenses right there. There was no way the Finns were going to hold it because right off the bat, the Russians. I didn't have to, but I used the prepared offensive. So you get to do these bombardments on this special chart. Where's it at? So on the barrage chart right there, you don't count any of your artillery pieces. You get 6 barrages. You can put 2 on a hex if you want and get 2 barrages. But you can see right there, you use that chart on the right, all the way to the right column. So you're either going to at least DG. I actually got lucky and had 2 11s that I rolled of the 6. And you also get the second wave markers when you use the prepared offensive. And you can put those on any units that aren't adjacent to an enemy. And they don't have to be exploit units. And they move kind of like they'll get to move in the exploit phase, but unless they are an exploit capable unit, which is those yellow banded units, they can't do any kind of attacks, but they can move. Okay. Now, of course, these exploitable units, they can move and overrun, man, I pretty much cleared this whole road up here by doing that. So we're already up on the second line of defense now in 2 turns, and just couldn't do any more fighting because you cannot overrun units that are in a defensive line. And that whole row right there is a defensive line. Now, these little ghost-looking icons you see right there for the Finns, if a combat unit is in one of these defensive lines, then you mark his zone of control. So his 6 hexes is zone of control. You mark any other hexes adjacent to him that is a defensive line. And what it does is that keeps the Russian units from moving into those hexes. And those ghost things stay there until the unit that is sort of broadcasting that ghost, until that unit is moved off the defensive line or eliminated. And then those get removed. So that's kind of like your Zoc bond in the Mark Simonich GMT games. All right. Similar. Not quite the same, but similar. So all the Finnish troops have pulled down. You'll see there's nothing back there. They roll for reinforcements on this chart on every turn. And I have rolled 1 twice. So they have gotten nothing. All right. And they need to get that Kolmi group on here. You also have an air points chart that you roll on. The Soviets, this time they got 4. And the Finns actually got 1. They rolled like a 3 or something. Okay. And those are just like the other games. You can use them to shift one column either defensively or offensively. All right, so casualties. See starting the 3rd stack of Finns right there. The Soviets have lost one of their good armor units. That's another way they get points too. If they pull off, 24 steps? Yeah. So you can pull 24 steps of non-guard units off the map, and you get a boss point. Or you can withdraw all guards units, which are the dark red ones. And I guess that's you telling Stalin, hey, I don't need all this stuff to handle the Finns. And he gets confidence in you, and you get a boss point added. All right. So it's an intriguing game, I got to admit, with no turn record chart. And it depends on whether Stalin is happy with your offensive or not. So like I say, on this turn, the second turn, the Soviets rolled bad. They lost a point, but they cleared that main line of resistance right there, the first one. And what they mean by clear is they're all gone, but you've taken both of the red highlighted hexes, or all 3 of them, the victory point hexes. So, yeah, the Soviets overrun all of those. So they got a boss point back. So they started with 3, and they're still at 3. This is going to be interesting. I can't wait to see how this goes. So the next time is the second line here, which is called I think it's the VT line, where all these units are sitting now. So they got to clear that line and take all those red hexes along there. And once they do that, they'll get another point. But this is a much bigger line. However, with the destruction the Soviets have put on the Finns, it's not looking good for Finns. Now, the Finns get a reaction move during the Soviet turn, and any unit that's not adjacent to a Soviet unit, a Russian unit, they can move. And, of course, units that can exploit can overrun during the reaction phase, which is interesting. And they do. They have a few armor units and some mobile units in here, as you can see. Not very strong, but they do have some, should they ever need to. They don't have a ton of reinforcements, but they've got they got some mobile stuff up there they could use. And like I said, their reinforcements come in off of that chart up there. The Russians, they could pull 6 units every reinforcement phase, pick any 6 they want, and bring them in to the play. However, I got a feeling I'm going to end up needing to pull units off to get those points, but we'll see. This is going to be interesting to see what I'm going to have to do if I'm rolling bad on the boss points, the adjustments that I'm going to have to make to keep the Russians in the fight. Because let's say I lose a boss point next turn and I decide, shoot, I need to pull something off. Well, you've only got 2 choices, either the guards units or 24 steps of regular units. And some of these units are 3-step units. So I hope to not have to do any of that as far as the Russians go. As the Finnish player goes, I hope the hell they do so they can lose those boss points. So I'm finding this one interesting too. I played Guadalajara. That was new and interesting to me. Well, this is also new to me. It's my first game of the Russian-Finnish war, or whatever you want to call it. All right, so you can see all the victory points on the hex. That's what the Russians are driving for. All right, try to capture all this stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's SCS. You can overrun in these woods and on these roads. The only place you can't overrun, like I say, is on those lines, on those defensive lines. And they've got, so the first one's clear. They're sitting in the second one right now. And then the third one is up here. And those are, yeah, they're all your defense factors are ×2 in those things. Okay. And you can see, was that the Mannerheim line? No, I don't know if the Mannerheim line's even on here. And then, of course, your big objectives are up here. Vipuri. So, and then you got a port over here somewhere, Taipali or something like that. So, yeah, a lot of victory locations. I don't know what the conditions are. I'll read that later as I'm playing. But, yeah, this is Karelia 44 from MMP. I played 2 turns. Seems pretty nice so far. Another one of those games that if you got it, get it out and play it. At least that's my opinion right now. We'll see as I play a few more turns whether Uncle Joe lets me keep fighting or tells me to come home and pack my bags. All right, we'll talk to y'all soon. Let's get this up. Later.